Hey guys, what's up? You might remember my video when I reacted to Jinjer Pisces and I was very confused, amazed. I had a lot of questions, mainly how can she pull that voice? And a lot of you in the comments were very helpful. You guys mentioned false chords, which I had no idea what they were. I had to look it up. And actually, Bishop actually sent me a link to this video, which should explain everything. Let's check it out.
Hey everybody, it's Mary Z back once again for Voice Hacks. I wanted today to cover one of your most requested videos, which is
Yeah,
on the vocalist
I guess.
Tatiana of Jinjer.
Right.
Today we are going to cover how to do vocals like Jinjer. You guys have been asking for this video. Jinjer has been reacted to by vocal coaches and singers and everyone to death on YouTube. So we're getting a lot of weird faces and reactions.
I had no idea she existed before, like a couple of days ago.
Ugh.
Thanks for the suggestion.
What? That's gonna ruin your voice. Ew. I don't really think you should do that. I don't even know what's going on here. And as you all
That
know,
was
I'm
me. What
dedicated
the hell?
here on the Voice Hacks
What's
channel
going on?
to breaking it all down and
How?
giving you the how and the why. Will doing harsh vocals like Tatiana from Jinjer really mess up your voice? And what's she doing
Apparently,
to
no.
begin with? We're gonna break it all down
That's what I
in
read.
today's tutorial.
Because again, you're using the false chords, whatever those are. Well,
So the video we are
I kind of
going to
saw a
take a
bit
look
what
at
they are.
today is for the song Pisces. And it's because that's the one that's been reacted to the most, and that we're seeing a lot of classical and traditional vocal coaches just turn their nose up at and make their faces at.
Really?
Doing
Why?
the harsh vocals that we're going to hear does not hurt your voice. And we're going to talk
Yeah.
about how and why.
That's
what
what I
kind
read.
of harsh vocals they are, and why doesn't it actually hurt our vocal folds to do this. This also will explain how this vocalist can sing and scream relatively seamlessly, transitioning from one to the other without becoming hoarse ever, and being able to do this over and over repeatedly, night after night, set after set, year after year. So let's take a look at the
Good for
things
her.
that make Tatiana from Jinjer a great vocalist, and we'll teach you how to do some of them.
This song again. Well, obviously, we're gonna watch the song again. Listen to it. So chill.
Suffering with smile, I drew a different reality with
So smooth.
unconditional loyalty. Ego heart, they can be big 'cause I'm selfless.
So the first thing that we look at is not very extreme. It's some really nice, lovely, and very well done clean singing.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to replicate the clean singing part of what Tatiana does, I
Practice.
would focus on your belting, your smoothness of tone, your pitch control. This is not a
Right,
mixed
right.
voice. This is kind of a quiet belt, but it is not a mixed voice. By and large, she belts. And also what we have is an impeccable sense of rhythm. Jinjer is really progressive and jazzy band. So as a
Right,
clean
yeah.
or a harsh vocalist, if you don't have the rhythm skills, you're going to sound really off. You can't just be random in progressive bands. The weird time signatures and the unique melodies are intentional. So you need to nail the rhythms, and that's one thing that she really does. So pitch and rhythm in your clean singing are paramount. But the one thing that everybody
I didn't even think about it, actually. She's right. I mean, you're singing two different types of music, right? Two different types of music. So, I mean, if you could just take the first part of the song and just leave it at that for like the next 5 minutes, you could have a song in that style. If you take the second part of the song, like whatever she said, like it's jazzy or I guess it's jazzy. If you take the second part of the song and where she's just yelling and you have 5 minutes of that, that's metal. That's a whole different type of music. And really, this is a fusion of both styles. Well, not really a fusion because you're kind of like cutting from one to the other, but like still it follows up so well.
wants to know about is the harsh vocals. So let's listen to the screams and let's find out what's going on there. And let's talk about what we can do to make the same sounds.
Easy, get possessed. There we go. I can see myself back then. What? it's around here that I kind of like realize what's going on, and I'm laughing about it. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, two different songs, straight up.
Okay, so this is the part where if I was an opera coach, I would start making faces,
An
tell you
opera
how
coach.
it's going to ruin your
Jeez.
voice. Even though a lot of traditional vocal coaches can't tell you what's going on here. And it's not their fault. Most people have been told throughout their lives, particularly if they have traditional training, that these type of phonations and this type of distortion will in fact destroy your voice, ruin your hopes at any other career. But the real truth is that our vocal cords are really, really delicate. If that were the case, she wouldn't even be able to finish this song, let alone set after set on tour and all of the other things that we've seen evident live. And we've seen this not only with Tatiana, but with other metal vocalists as well. This sound is what we call the false chord scream.
Right.
Yes, it is spelled C-O-R-D. C-H-O-R-D
Wow.
is a grouping of notes.
Didn't know.
It is not called the false C-H-O-R-D scream. It's the false chord scream because basically all that's happening in this crazy expansive sound is blowing air through our trachea and past a lot of our tissues called the vestibular folds, or known as the false chords more commonly. And we can also flap around, in addition to the tissues in here around our false chords, other
Really?
tissues throughout our mouth cavity, past our soft palate, and our uvula. And flapping
The
those
hell?
tissues, as far as we know, as far as
I had
most
no
of the
idea.
research that's been done shows us, doesn't seem to have a negative effect on our actual vocal folds. The things that actually affect our vocal cords negatively are slamming them together. The weird thing is that in a false chord scream, they're actually sitting apart and they're not touching really at all. And this creates an environment that's quite safe. And as long as we're actually making a correct false chord scream with our vocal folds open, there's nothing about flapping our false folds or these other tissues and making this crazy noise that's actually going to create hoarseness or cause problems. I'm
This is
also a
interesting.
living example of this.
I had
I've been
no
doing
idea.
false chord screams for very many years. I've never had a nodule or a polyp or a serious vocal issue as far as screams damaging my voice. What we have to realize is that they're really harsh vocals. They're not actual screaming. And so screaming implies using your vocal cords. So even though we
Oh, I see,
casually
I see,
call
I
all
see.
this stuff metal screaming, it's actually not screaming with your actual voice.
Okay,
so
okay,
these
okay.
people can do this night after
Really?
night and have a really deep sound. The false chord scream is also sometimes called growls or growling. Let's take a look at this actually happening. In San Francisco, there was a doctor who was kind enough to provide us with some research where we actually get to observe this phenomenon happening. And we can look at this clip right here on YouTube. Dr. Krzysztof Izdebski of the Pacific Voice and Speech Foundation took video and slowed down the movement of these folds during metal vocal phonation. And if we take a look at the footage here, we can see that all these tissues are really, really flapping around in the windpipe. The white part there is our vocal cords, and they're sort of sitting open. And we're looking at the trachea up here near the neck, and we're seeing all of these folds sort of flap around.
Jeez, that's a
And
lot of
that
movement. You didn't
is
even think
what's
about it.
creating the white noise in our distortion. And this is why the voice is so shocking to the people listening to her, because we see a small woman and we think that this large phonation doesn't really match what we're seeing.
And like I mentioned in the original video, if you don't actually see the video, you think it's two people singing, like two different people singing.
However, all people can make this phonation, and
Ow.
it's very deep and round when our vocal cords are open, even if it's coming out of a smaller person or a smaller instrument, if you will. So this is what's happening here. If you want to do vocals like Jinjer, you have to learn the false chord scream. I do not recommend just trying it out of nowhere. There is a method to kind of getting your voice out of the sound and to making
I'm
the
about to.
noise pure and correctly.
Not on
I
camera.
would try to look at my Screamer series playlist here on the VoiceHacks channel and watch some of the tutorials about how to false chord scream and see if you can kind of slowly get the ball rolling. Otherwise, there are good coaches around, including myself. You can always email me at voicehacks@gmail.com if you want some lessons on how to improve or even start learning your harsh vocals. Thanks everybody for requesting Jinjer. Tatiana is an amazingly talented vocalist,
Yeah,
and
that's
hopefully
what I
all
said.
the bands we love will get on the road soon and we'll get to hear these screams live. Once again, now you know how the screams are made, what they're doing, and why they don't hurt your voice. Thanks everybody. I'll see you soon in another tutorial here on the Voice Hacks channel.
Thank you for that, and thank you for the suggestion of this video and the link. It's interesting. So you're not really screaming. You're just pushing air out, and I guess you're letting your false chords do the rest of the work. That's so interesting. I had no idea this existed. Wow. Cool. Now we know. Now we learned something today. Thank you very much once again, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.